the Mastercard Foundation. Across 9 cinematic episodes, it tells stories of young people from classrooms to villages and innovation labs, showing how education is shaping a new generation of African leaders and change makers. The series will premiere on CNBC Africa, NTV Kenya, NTV Uganda, and TV5 Monde, reaching audiences across the continent and worldwide through online platforms as well. Today, right here at the Baobab Summit 2025, you, ladies and gentlemen, are amongst the first to see it. Here is the official trailer of Education, Transforming Lives, Transforming Africa.
From classrooms to community spaces, young Africans are asking new questions about what learning is and what it should be for.
Is it just education to read books and memorize facts, or it's education to go into the world and create something?
Yet for many, the path to create begins far from privilege.
Know your story. It's a hard story, but actually your strength and your potential is much bigger than the problems you have.
And from these stories, a new mindset emerges, one that sees strength in reimagining how we learn, teach, and build.
Universities on the continent need to realize that if they don't prepare the smartest people on this continent to tackle some of the continent's biggest, most important pressing needs, then we are not doing our job.
We need to be critical, not to do things the way we have done them in the past. We have to introduce technology early in our education program.
Through building resilience and commitment, you can make the change you actually want to see.
The shift has happened, so the idea is for us to make it a reality for them.
You'll hear stories of this shift, stories of invention.
Tools are only as valuable as the direction which you point them in.
Stories of inclusion.
When we talk about inclusion, adjusting the environment to be accessible is important for students with disability.
We have a whole global sisterhood that supports women, that support girls.
Stories of courage.
If you're not educating, how do you see the changes as an opportunity, not a threat to you?
Keep investing in education for girls. Educating a girl is educating a community as well as a nation.
These are the stories, the voices. Together, they're shaping Africa's tomorrow.
It's so important to invest in young people, especially young people in Africa. They're the future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that video. Yes, and I'm looking forward to watching this series. It was good to see some familiar faces, Joseph, and see individuals, Farai, who are just doing amazing work, doing incredible things on this continent and in the world. And this will be a powerful way to tell those stories and remind us about the beautiful journey we have been all on together. Talking about journeys that we've all been on together, it is now my honor and privilege to transition us into this special fireside chat, which is really an opportunity for storytelling, for joint reflection, for intergenerational dialogue, a time to pause, a time to reflect, a time to take stock of where we've come from, but also to imagine together where we are going. It's both my honor and privilege to now welcome on stage our panelists. I'm going to start with a dear friend, Shukri Ahmed, who is the program partner at the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program. Please, let's give Shukri a round of applause. By way of introduction, Shukri is a social impact leader on a mission to ensure every young person has the opportunity to thrive. As a program partner at the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, she co-creates transformative initiatives that expand across education, empowering youth, and shaping pathways to meaningful change. Shukri co-chairs the Holy Trinity Refugees Committee and is a proud Mastercard Foundation Scholar alumni. Shukri also holds a degree from the American University of Beirut, blending her personal journey with a professional dedication to creating opportunities, building trust, and driving systemic change. Welcome again, Shukri Ahmed. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is another dear friend. His name is Joseph Munyambanza. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Munyambanza, Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program Consultant for Mastercard Foundation. Joseph is a multi-award-winning social entrepreneur and thought leader whose life began in a refugee settlement in Uganda, having fled the DRC at the age of 6. At 14, he co-founded CIOTA, an international youth organization to transforming Africa through education of refugee youth across multiple countries. He is currently a Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program Consultant at the Mastercard Foundation. Joseph's passion for positive change in Africa stems from his own experience growing up in a refugee camp in Uganda. As an ALA alumnus, he holds a BA in biochemistry from Westminster College in 2012 through the Mastercard Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joseph Munyambanza. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, she's giving a smile, is the one and the only Dorcas from Kempford, Ghana, and the University of Edinburgh. Please give Dorcas a round of applause. Dorcas is a 2-time Mastercard Foundation Scholar. Woo! There we are. And a leading social entrepreneur committing to advancing women's economic empowerment and inclusive development in Africa. She began her academic journey at the Mastercard Foundation Scholar, as a Mastercard Foundation Scholar at Kempford, Ghana, owning a degree in development planning from the University for Development Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Dorcas Apor. And last but definitely not least is someone who for many of us needs no introduction. But I will say something. I mean, I won't go into the titles, what she's accomplished, but I want to tell you a quick story. On Tuesday, I happened to be flying from South Africa to Nairobi. And I was a bit frazzled. I was like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. And when I got to the airport, as I was about to get into my gate, guess who I meet? Rita Roy. And as she immediately recognized me. One, which is always something that surprises me, is how Rita remembers everyone's name. She acknowledged me by my name, gave me the biggest hug I've ever received in a while, and said, "How have you been?" And asked me, "How's this thing going? How are you doing there? What are you up to?" And in that moment, I was reminded, this is Rita Roy, the loving, compassionate individual who will see you, who will recognize you, who will give you a big hug, but also know your story, know your journey, and be genuinely interested in contributing to it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome on stage Ms. Rita Roy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. Panel, over to you.
Thank you so much, Kat, for doing this. Just before we start with our incredible panel, I want to do a quick shout out to our incoming president and CEO of the Mastercard Foundation, who is sitting right here.
Thank you so much. I feel the energy. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. And I don't have much to say. It's just that I am honored and excited to be a part of your journey going forward. And I hope I get to meet a lot of you.
Okay, great. So we're going to jump right in. This is a panel to really get a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight, some reflection, maybe a few funny stories from our fabulous panel. And Dorcas, I'm going to start right with you. So you are a two-time Mastercard Foundation Scholar. You've had a journey from northern Ghana to the world, You've created an incredible social enterprise that is changing the lives of women. I don't know how many women now, but I know it's in the hundreds. You started so modestly, but now you're exporting gorgeous baskets which carry both the artistry, the talent, the skills, the stories, the love of women. Just want you to share a little bit about that journey when you look back, but also look ahead. Look ahead and tell us what you expect, what you hope for, but really what you expect from us, from all of us, but really what you'd like to see. So over to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My journey started in 2014. And so there are 3 factors that has helped me to translate my dreams into what we are doing today. The first one is high unemployment among women in my community. And the second one is through my research work program. And finally, the Mastercard Foundation value of giving back to your community. Now, let me highlight this further. I grew up from a very underserved community in the Upper East region, where I saw how women struggle to provide daily meals for their kids. And my mom was a perfect example. My mom could go all along with just to provide food for us for a day and not having hope of what we'll be eating tomorrow. And so my mom kept asking me, when I got to 7 years going to 8 years, my mom always said, Dorcas, have you seen what I'm going through? Do you want to be like me? And of course, I wouldn't want to. I want to change this story. And so, as a result of that, so many women from my community travel to city centers in Ghana to work in the streets whilst leaving their children to drop out of school. Looking at this, I wouldn't want to find myself in a hard situation. And so I managed to complete high school, but I thought that was the end of my education because I have no hope to continue. But along the way, my life-changing savior, the Mastercard Foundation at Comfort, stepped in and said, Dorcas, we will give you the opportunity to further your education. And right at my university, I was posted into the Upper East region alongside with my schoolmates to carry out a research work as part of our school requirement programs. And so at the end of the research work, it reveals that there is high level of unemployment among women, leading to high strictism and high teenage pregnancies. I asked myself, Dorcas, what can you do with this? I couldn't do anything. Then, along the way, I got the opportunity to participate at the Changemakers Congress organized by Comfort, where I got to meet young entrepreneurs, and I could feel and see the innovative solutions that they were providing and impacting lives in their communities. Then I said, Dorcas, what are you waiting for? Start with what you have. So that was where I started ASIGE. And so at ASIGE, we empower women to produce sustainable products for the global market, whilst also providing opportunities for livelihood for young people through vocational skills training and education. Straightforward, I started ASIGE in 2017. under a tree with just less than 30 women. But as I speak today, I am happy to tell you that we are working with over 450 women across 7 different communities. And our baskets are selling in 15 different countries all over the world via our retail channels. We are currently operating in 2 countries, in Ghana and the United Kingdom. Aside all this, we have also been able to produce and distributed over 8,856 sustainable sanitary pads for rural girls to stay in school. And this has helped reduce teenage pregnancies and school absenteeism in the schools that we operate in the Upper East region and other regions in Ghana. And we have also gone further to enroll 100 young people into vocational skills training. 50 of them have graduated and have opened their own shops. And currently, on top of that, there are several girls in rural communities that have the grade, but they cannot make it to the university. So we started this program just last 2 years. We have been able to sponsor 5 girls to go to 4 different universities in Ghana. And so looking forward to the future, what I would say, the bold steps that we all must take and Africa governments and organizations must take is that we have to think about investment in women education. Just like Mastercard Foundation is doing, giving us the opportunity to be empowered, to be educated, and to lead change in Africa. Ask yourself, if Mastercard Foundation has not given us the opportunity to go to school, would myself be here and many of you leading change, be leading change today? No. So there should be investment in women education to give women opportunities so that they can transform their communities. Secondly, I would also want to challenge women that Africa is a beautiful continent. We are sitting on top of gold. Africa has the natural resources that you women can venture into. For example, look at our lands. We have fertile lands. You can go into agric. We have vibrant African fabric, like I'm wearing. You can go into fashion. What is preventing you? But for women to scale this to the top level and to expand to the world, there should be increase in access to capital so that women can start their business, grow, and scale up. On the part of partnerships, I would also recommend that African women who are experienced and doing well in entrepreneurship to partner with young women who want to go into entrepreneurship so that this will create a platform for shared learning, leadership, and growth. And finally, I would like to recommend and suggest to governments all over Africa that they should foster public-private partnerships with women-led businesses. This would give women motivation to dream big. And I believe when we combine all these efforts, it will create an Africa where women are not failures, where women are not participants, but drivers for development. Ashanti Sana, thank you.
Asante, that's policy in the making. Policy in the making. Thank you. Congratulations. Joseph, I'm going to come to you. You know, your story is well known now because of so many awards which were so well deserved that you have received over the years. I also know that you are a passionate advocate for education and you have many, many ideas for education.
So I'm going to ask you for a moment, as you reflect on the journey you've been on, and even the part through which with our foundation, what you would recommend is pivotal in a journey of transformation, personal transformation, in order for broader transformation to occur. So that's one. And then I'd also ask you to think what it is we at the foundation, give us some advice, need to ensure we retain and never change, which is so integral to ensuring more and more young people have also the opportunity to create impact.
Thank you, Rita. It's a great honor to be here and to share this. I'll quickly break down or take us to my journey. Katie talked about it, but it started when I was 6 years old, when my family was forced to flee to Uganda from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And for the first 7 years, I went to primary school in the refugee camp, walking to school, no shoes, and for most of that time, no uniform. And, when you leave your home, you go to a refugee camp, the first thing you're looking for is safety. But as a young child, now I started thinking of how much longer is this pain and hopelessness going to be. So I studied with the conviction that education was the only way, but I didn't know how I was going to earn that education. But through the hard work, when I completed my primary school, I was able to gain a scholarship. So I went to town. So for the first time after 7 years, I left the refugee camp and I started studying with other kids from good families who would say, I want to be a teacher, and you can see they believe that they're going to be a teacher, a doctor, or anything. And I shared with them that conviction now with the support I was getting. But every time when you sit with the young people who comes from other community, you remember many other young people from your community. And in my second year of secondary school, there are a few other refugee students who had gone from the refugee camp who were studying in that same town. And we started thinking of what we can do. So we set up a tutoring program back in the refugee camp where every holidays we really spent most of our time inspiring, encouraging other kids to believe in themselves. And by the time, 2005, we realized that we had close to 100 young people who are really committed to doing well in education. And by the time, after 2 years, for the first time, we started having a big number of children completing primary school with good grades. There was no secondary school to take them to in the refugee camp. Later, we managed to create a space for them in town, talking to teachers, to bring kids. And to make it the story short, we also ended up setting up a kind of a kindergarten for orphans, children who do not have parents, to see how they can be able to be prepared and integrate in the traditional primary school. And later we decided to say, let's make it a primary school because the quality was getting better. So we started with the 20 children in 2009. And every year we worked in people's fields. So young people, we mobilized each other. We went to work for people, we get money, we pay for the teacher, we buy for books, things like that. And the program kept continuing. So from 20 children in 2009, by the year 2010, I had already got an opportunity to go to the African Leadership Academy, a journey which really sparked a much bigger belief and confidence in me that there's a bigger world out there. And there's a lot of great people who are really committed to working with other young people coming from any background. And through the African Leadership Academy, I finished, went back to the refugee camp, continued to build the school and other programs. And by the time I went, I was supposed to go to the university. In 2011, I had gotten into schools, but none of them had given me a full scholarship. All of them were US universities. And so the founders of LA told me, you can stay at the campus in South Africa as we prepare for you to go to university. I told them I didn't have projects. They all knew about the projects. I said, let me go back to my village, keep working on these projects. If opportunity comes, let me know. If opportunities don't come, I'll be using the knowledge I have to keep going. And we were doing a lot of good work. So I was actually not feeling sad that I don't have opportunity, because I already had a purpose and good work we're doing. And by end of the year, someone had committed to sponsor me for 1 semester. I said that staying in this refugee camp for a long time, it may demotivate other young people now because even at LA, some of the students, every time we made progress somewhere, a lot of other students really followed us. So even at LA already had some of the students who had followed in my footsteps to go there. So I said, if I don't go to university, it's going to be a challenge. So when someone committed 1 semester, I got my flight at the beginning of 2012, went to a university with a goal to have 1 semester. And after 1 semester in summer of 2012, I remember we were cooking with the other students, those US universities, in somewhere you just have to live in those small places. So I remember I was cooking and Chris Bradford called me that, Joseph, I have good news for you. The Mastercard Foundation has offered to pay all your school fees. I was cooking. I remember that time I was cooking. I don't know what I was doing on the pan. I carried the pan, I put it on top of a plastic table, and then I went out to celebrate. By the time I came, the table had burnt down, everything like that. So that's part of my journey. But what happened along the way, even before I finished my degree, 3 of the students from the program we used to run had already gotten into universities. One had got into Rochester, another one had joined me at Westminster College, and 2 were at USIU Africa. And one of those is in Takamazi. He goes by TK. He did his mechanical engineering at Rochester. He was already working. When he finished, he got a job in these auto companies. So he was really growing. But then by the time he realized we have more work, he left his job because after he graduated, also the foundation gave us the opportunity to always come back. So when I went to school, I wanted to be a doctor. I did biochemistry. In the last semester, I realized that we did not have a good plan of how the organization is going to continue when I'm doing medicine. So I asked the foundation to pay for my flight. I flew back to the refugee camp, and I talked to my medical professor. I said, I'm done. They knew what I was doing. He said, I think it's a good reason because we had over 500 children in school already. And the journey, what I feel like the foundation, for example, has done is that every time, whether at the beginning of the scholarship, I remember, Rita, you sent me a letter, which I still have, talking how the foundation is inspired of my leadership, they want to be part of my leadership, a lot of things, and those things stayed with us. And so from the 20 children, we were able to build a primary school. I recently visited, because Takamazi is now the executive director. The primary school has grown to 1,116 children. The organization, after COVID, when they realized that schools keep closing, Ciotta was able to set up a secondary school, which I just learned that they have now 1,300 children in secondary school. Some of the children we put in school, they also wanted to replicate some of the schools. They run the schools, they get mentorship from Ciotta, so there are about 7 schools which are running. So I was talking with the current executive director. They have 8,256 children who are getting education in the refugee camp. And this is it's not a refugee type of education. The Ciotta schools, every year, when there's national exam results, you get the results for the newspaper. They are among the top best schools in the country, centered in the refugee camp. And it's not just a number. The quality of education the foundation gives us, the quality of trust the foundation gives us, it's what we want to give to Africa. And so my belief is that we have the potential to do anything. And we believe that whether it's helping a refugee child, whether it's helping a young woman, whether it's helping a young person with disability, to do it well. And you've trusted us. All our scholarship cost a lot of money. We go to great schools, we get all the support, and our goal is to do the same for Africa. And CIOTA is doing that, and we have over 100 students who have finished university through the Mastercard Foundation, and I'm really excited to say that about 95% they go back. So if you go back to some of these refugee camps, the program started, they're concentrated with the talent. So you'll see a program in a hard-to-reach places, and when you see the quality, it's because of the foundation product. And I've also been honored to really work with the foundation for about 6 years now. I think I've stayed longer than I thought. But what I've seen, you know, Rita, Peter, and all the colleagues, the dedication, you know, initially I was a scholar, getting support from the foundation without knowing what's happening. But coming in to see the commitment, those conversations behind what I could never hear, to see the genuine, authentic willingness, commitment is powerful, and it's very inspiring. I would encourage the foundation to continue to listen to the young people. I know sometimes working with young people is hard. They are difficult. They may come across in a way they don't want to come across, but a big part of it, there are two things. It's a challenge they may have gone through, or it's a big vision they have, and they're not yet able to communicate it in a good way. And our commitment to listening to the young people, I think it's one of the wonders we really need to have, because Africa has a lot of great young people, and sometimes our culture, you know, either to the young people who are young women, young people with any vulnerability, sometimes the culture really drag them down. But when you trust them, you continue to do the confidence you give us, I'm telling you, we're not going to disappoint you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joseph. You are just an example, and Dorcas as well, of what a multiplier impact is through education to your leadership. So Shukri, we're coming to you. Shukri, you've obviously been a scholar, you're an alumnus, you are deeply committed to policy shifts that you want to see in the world, which comes a lot out of your own life experience. So I'd like you just take a moment to share how you see things as you reflect on your own journey. What has been pivotal for you? What has touched you the most or propelled you the most? And, you know, when you think about what that is, how has it then translated and shaped you to become the change maker that you are?
Thank you so much for the wonderful question. For me, Mastercard Foundation values humility, kindness, and respect, listening, co-creation, and impact has profoundly shaped me who I am as a leader today, as I serve every day, as I serve young people. And those values guided me and still continue to inform my leadership journey and my work every day. So I want to quickly share two stories about the value that I have experienced many, many years ago when I was a scholar at the American University of Beirut. When we just arrived, I was among the cohort of the big number of cohort of African students that went to the university. And before that, we had only few African scholars that were in the university. So arriving in a new country, new language, even in a new academic system were very, very challenging. And as students, we came to understand in order for us to succeed and thrive in this system, we needed our voices and our collective experiences needed to be reflected in the environment and how we can shape and be part of the community. So we didn't have a roadmap. We didn't know what to do, but luckily we had a remarkable meeting with the university's president. And what has stood out for me and many of my colleagues at that time was the value of humility that President Khoury has exhibited to us, and also him, as he was engaging with us and listening to us, we have first-hand experience of how the value of humility can change and shift and open doors for others that are not basically familiar with that environment. So from that day, the lesson I've learned and that had stuck with me and I carry out through my work and journey every day is to embody those values, and also not only humility, but also to understand where others are coming from, and also expanding the inclusion, because everyone has their own experiences, they carry a lot, and from inclusion perspective, having that mindset and also extending the value of kindness, co-creation, co-creating solutions. That was most impactful experiences I had in terms of experiencing values in action. The other story I would like to share also is about inclusion. And even before I went to apply to the university, I came from a country, Somalia, where most of the time the scholarships I interested were not included. So for me, inclusion was at the top of my mind. So when I went to the website of the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program to see what this scholarship about, and I wasn't having a lot of hope, actually, that I will be included. So I went, checked, and it says it's open for everyone from Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. And I said, oh, my geography is right. Yes, yes. And then I could not believe it, but I went and I emailed the program, Scholars Program, Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program at AUB, and Maha, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I sent an email and I said, is this true? Have you had anybody from my country studying? And she said, yes, we even have one, but this year has been closed. You apply next year. And I waited and I applied. And I got it. And that is inclusion also in, how can I describe it? In practice. So for me, every time I am doing something, I'm working every day, inclusion is at the top of my mind. So over the years, those lessons I've carried with me, and I am exhibiting in my day-to-day life, and also in my leadership journey, at my work. And the lesson I've learned also is that as humans, as people, we could be encouraging and be working together as partners, but the most important value is that we are sharing a value, and that shared purposes and shared value is what is keeping us together. And if we listen and work and co-create together, we can progress. So that's the most important, and what stood out for me from my experience being as a scholar and also being on the other side right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Shukri. Is Maha here? Maha, there you are. Stand up, stand up. Thank you. Thank you. So I think now the tables are turning. So, okay, Joseph, I see you already.
For you, Rita, now. So, Rita, you know, we all have memories of you. Some of us directly in person, some of us listening to you, or some of us looking at the work you've done. And I personally have a lot of beautiful memories of interacting with you. I've told you the first time I met you in 2012. It was President's meeting. And, you know, there are so many guys and women all dressed professionally, and then few students, young people. And I couldn't differentiate Rita from students because she was mostly hanging out with the students, talking with them.
Saying I didn't look professional, I think that's what it was.
I didn't mean that. And I have many other memories. I remember in Uganda, there's a time at Siyota we lost a student, and I was serving as executive director. A lot of our students, both in Uganda and those ones who were outside Uganda, it really brought coldness. And, you know, I'm a young person trying to really, mostly focusing on education. Let's go to school. And now we have this big loss, and it's really hard for me to know how to comfort these young people. And I remember I was in the office in Kampala. The phone rang in our small office. Someone picked. They said, someone wants to talk to Joseph. When I picked the phone, it was Rita saying, we've sadly learned about the situation you have had, and want to tell you we are standing with you. Tell all the young people. And that spoke life in my life. I also remember in 2014, there was this Clinton Global Initiative. I was invited to speak to a panel, but the people whose panel was on, they were all big people. One of them was Sin McCain, the wife of John McCain, you know, the one who was competing with President Obama for presidents. And when in that kind of event, you know, people who are in the audience, they're really focusing on these all big people. And Rita was one of the people who had attended that event. And as we were seated on a stage, I saw Rita coming. I think she was from another session. She knew she had to attend my session. Rita came among the last people. You know, it was as big as this. I saw Rita standing there. All the seats were taken, and then I saw Rita standing. And it's that moment when you know, like, I know many of these people may not be my fans, but I know I have one champion behind there. And like, you know, I spoke when, even after speaking, you know, everyone is coming to meet these big people. Rita came running, gave me a big hug. You know, she has a big hug. You guys all know it. She gave me a big hug, and then she was asking me, how are you doing? How's Siyota? How's the school going? I was in college at that time. She always has a structure on how she will ask you everything about you in a short time. And like, so for me, those moments, Rita, they've nurtured me. They've made me grow. And I also wanted to bring to you, like, when you look back at the areas of the Mastercard Foundation and the birth of the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, what moments or stories stand out to you the most? And how have those experiences influenced the way the foundation continues to nurture leaders, service, and the culture of giving back today?
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much. There are many memories. You know, when we began, and even though it may sound like the foundation had a lot of resources, but really there were just 4 of us, and then there were 5 or 6 of us at the organization. And when you begin and you haven't done anything, you haven't demonstrated why anybody should trust you, you begin by listening. And when you listen, you learn things. You hear things, but you learn things. And I remember many stories of young people sharing about where they were, what they hoped for. I remember we went to northern Uganda, to Kitgum, listening to young girls in clubs who, I think there were 20 young girls in a very, very modest place. 18 of them were out of school, 4 of them were young mothers. And when we asked, what would you like to do? Everybody wanted to go back to school. And that story repeated itself so many ways. We were here in Kenya. I had an opportunity to go out to Western Kenya, to Migori, to meet young people. And so their stories have been everything. And that has been what has shaped our journey as a foundation, because it has informed us what matters to them, what they prioritize, and what they prioritize should be what we prioritize as an organization. And that's the starting point for the design of programs. It's the starting point for including many voices. Sometimes we don't do a great job, but we keep trying because we're also a human organization. And sometimes we make mistakes, but I think about all those stories all the time. And I think about the accountability of young people who say to me, "You've heard my story. I want to know, what are you going to do? What will you do about this?" And so I feel that sense of accountability. So it's been everything, everything.
That's very beautiful. Rita, you are an amazing and a wonderful person, and a lovable person. Everyone loves you. I love you dearly. And I can vote 100% on behalf of my sisters and brothers seated here and out there that we love you. But we want to find out one thing from you. You have led the Mastercard Foundation through an incredible growth and transformation. What is that one thing that brought you joy? And has there been any moment that requires you to change your mindset on the way you lead? Thank you.
So I did prepare some notes. I had a little bit advance warning about these questions. There are many moments of joy, just as there were many moments of challenge. And I think about the greatest joy, of course, which is aside from the impact, which is right in front here in this room. This is the impact, and all the impact that you're creating. But I would say the most important thing and the most joyful, hopeful, loving thing has been about the people. And because it is people who bring joy, people who create impact, people who have ideas which have been such a privilege for us to get behind those ideas. So it's people like Ann Cotton, who are sitting right here, who have taught me so much. People like James Mwangi, who you saw on the screen, who have been so instrumental in Wings to Fly in Kenya. People like Patrick Ewa in Ghana, and really across the region, people like yourselves, who have provided a lot of guidance, maybe even without you knowing it. And in terms of challenge, there have been so many moments of challenge, personal challenge, planetary challenge when we faced COVID. But your question is, were there things which caused us to change our mind? Yes. There have been moments where we set out on a path, even with the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, before it became the Scholars Program. I hope I don't embarrass you, but I will. But I will. When we started out the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, or what was to become the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, we had done a lot of research. We thought we had consulted a lot of people. We set out a beautiful blueprint, beautiful, so well written, sent it to experts. There were 9 experts, and we asked them for feedback. 8 of them said, fantastic, great job. 1 of them said, call me. That person is sitting right here. It's Ann Cotton. And she said, Rita, it's not going to work. What you have on paper isn't going to work. And I remember my heart just falling because I have such huge respect for Anne. And I said, why isn't it going to work? Because it isn't centered on the young person. So here you're thinking you're doing all this brilliant stuff, and one person is brave enough, authentic enough, caring enough to say, you need to look at this differently. And if it hadn't been for that intervention, I don't think we would have what we have become as the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program. So thank you.
You are very phenomenal and sweet. Thank you.
So Rita, we have talked about impact for the past 2 days. We have seen the impact of the Mastercard Foundation program, particularly Scholars Program, and we lived it. So as the foundation approaches 2 decades of impact, how do you envision the legacy, especially through the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program? What do you hope for future generation will see about this community and its leader that you have contributed to build?
It's so hard to talk about legacy, but first thing I want to say is that I'm so proud of this Scholars Program. I'm proud of all the young people from across Africa, who are young people from Latin America, the Middle East, young Syrians, young Palestinians, young people from Costa Rica, young people across who are part of this community. I feel like I'm already looking at impact. We've just heard stories of impact. And this impact, this life-changing event in the lives of individuals, in the lives of institutions, will go on, probably in directions we cannot even imagine. But what I would hope we will see as well, if you fast forward 5, 10, 15, 20 years, is that we will see many young people here, and whether you choose a life in public service, or whether you seek high office, or whether you choose to build something amazing because of an innovation and an idea that you have, whether you choose to become a teacher, whether you choose to be someone, I hope all of you are in service of something much larger than ourselves, much larger, because that was the original vision of this program. It was not about a scholarship. The scholarship is just the means. This program was really about transforming ourselves, transforming and contributing to the lives of others, but transforming the places where we are from, wherever that place may be, so that other people too have opportunities. So that's what I hope to see. To me, that is the true calling of leadership.
Thank you so much, Rita. So now that we have...
We have one last question, and I wanted to pose it. So, Rita, you've answered part of this question, but it really comes from 3 of us, plus 41,000 and more other students. And all together we are saying, you've given a hope and opportunity to millions of young Africans, including us in this room. And we know that has not been an easy journey. So when you look back, what has kept you inspired through it all? Are there some moments or particular story, personal experiences that have stayed with you, something that continues to remind you why this work matters?
I think all of us get inspiration, we get encouragement from each other and from other people who maybe they don't even know us, but they believe in the direction we're trying to go. And whether they hold us up in prayer, whether they send good wishes, good energy, or in some cases, I remember a very, very difficult time in my life. Well, while I was at the foundation, and I was ready, almost ready to say, I don't think I can go forward anymore. And I got a letter. That letter was from you, Joseph. I don't know if you remember everything in that letter, but there was one line that said, we are all lights passing through this world. And the moment I read that line, I thought, I can't let the light go out. But everybody here and everybody who's listening is a light, is a light. And so sometimes your light dims because you're going through a hard time. And that's the time we all come and we shine our light together so it's bright. And we lift each other up. So I just want to say that, and you'll learn this too, the journey of leadership isn't about the glory, it isn't about the trappings, it isn't about what seems to be, what people see, because what they see is a very superficial facade. The journey of leadership is hard, as you know, and it is not without setbacks and challenge, and as well as beautiful moments of deep satisfaction and accomplishment. But the journey of leadership can only be sustained when we all support each other and when we each encourage each other, even as much as we challenge each other, but we all come together. So I just want to say thank you for those who have encouraged us, supported us, challenged us, told us we could do better, but at the same time, were walking with us on the journey. So for me personally, that's kept me going. Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. So now that we have one of us in the audience, Farai, hello? So, Farai, you have represented Rita and Peter at the World Bank Spring meeting earlier this year in Washington. So could you please share us in 1 minute, what was that experience for you?
Thank you so much. A good day to you all. My name is Farai Munjoma. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I am the founder and CEO of the Shasha Network. We are on a mission to connect 50 million young people across Africa to soft skills and personal development for them to achieve their fullest potential. I am an Anzisha Fellow, an alumni of the African Leadership Academy, the African Leadership University, and of recent, the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program at the University of Edinburgh. So to your question about what it means, what does it mean to represent Rita Roy at the World Bank Springs meetings? This is the highest platform anyone can ever have to address world leaders. I landed in Washington, D.C. and a little voice started coming in my head. Farai, these people are expecting Rita Roy. They're probably asking themselves, who's this guy that they've sent? And I remember calling a friend of mine and she said, when you get onto that podium, channel the youth. I thought about every particular Mastercard scholar that I spoke to. And my mission was to get on that podium and remind world leaders that African youth are not just beneficiaries. We are innovators, we are entrepreneurs, and we are builders. So, as I look at that particular moment, the idea that a young man from Zimbabwe who sold chickens in 2008 can fly into Washington, D.C., walk into the World Bank, and speak to world leaders, that is what radical trust looks like. And Africa needs radical trust. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Farai. So now we are moving to the Q&A session, and we just have 2 questions. So I would like to take one question from the back.
Right, if the ushers could also help us with that. We also have questions on Slido, Shukri. So please feel free to also bring those in if and when you would like to. Yes.
Okay, we'll start in the room first. Yes, that hand in the middle. Yes, stand up.
Thank you very much. My name is Deng Andrea Gang. I'm a student from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Ghana, under Mastercard. I've just completed my program, and probably next month I will be a graduate transitioning into an alumni network of Mastercard. And my question reads, of course, Mastercard Foundation has done an incredible work expanding opportunities for young people across Africa, particularly through education and entrepreneurship. However, when we look closely, we see that most of the opportunities are concentrated in relatively stable and thriving countries across Africa, while the most fragile countries and communities like DRC, Congo, South Sudan, Somalia, among others, remain highly underrepresented despite the higher vulnerabilities. What does the Foundation plan to ensure a more equitable distribution of opportunities so that young people from fragile and conflict-affected countries also get a fair chance? Not just those who can tell their stories very well, but those whose realities most need transformation across the continent. Thank you so much, Madam Rita Roy.
Thank you so much. One more hand from there, and then Rita will answer. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Josiah Muriuki. I am a Mastercard Foundation Scholar alumnus from University of Pretoria, and I want to first pass my gratitude to Rita Roy. Speaking to you this time when it's the last Baobab Summit that you will be CEO and president, I want to say thank you because I am one of the Wings to Fly scholars that you held hands in 2013 and came all the way and brought Bill Clinton to Kenya to speak to us. And truly, truly, you planted seeds of change. And this is the change that we want to see. So, as a Mastercard Foundation Scholar alumnus, one of the things that we are looking at is not to ask what the Mastercard Foundation can give to us majorly, but what we can give back to the Mastercard Foundation. And listening to Joseph, I must applaud you that you are a great storyteller. I followed through the story, and also listening to Farai Munjoma, I've been following closely, and the stories are all making Africa a better place. So the question is, since I am not a refugee, I am a young person in the African continent who is looking to make change, and I have started an initiative Better Mentor Africa, where we are helping students. And last year, we were able to work with 15 students who have now joined the Mastercard Foundation Scholars Program, and they are all part of this community. So how can we then continue to bring the community together outside of being in these spaces that have been organized by the foundation? How can we get other people on board, probably from your experience at Ciota, Joseph, but also to Rita, from your experience in building an organization that someone told you it will not work, but eventually we can all see it is a force to reckon with. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Just switching on to Slido, the most upvoted question on Slido says, how does one find what they want to do? So this is to the panelists. So how does one find what they want to do? How can these amazing young leaders find their purpose? Back to you, Shukri.
Thank you. Rita, over to you.
Okay, but it'll be a team effort. It'll be a team effort as we go through. And Shukri, you jump in on the first question as well. So thank you so much for the question about what we are doing in countries which have experienced conflict or which are emerging from conflict. So one of the most critical things we're doing is recognizing the high numbers of young people who are displaced or who are whether internally displaced or who have the status of refugees and who are in neighboring countries. So we have a significant undertaking doing a couple things. One through the UNHCR, the other through organizations like Inkomoko, which work with young people who are displaced, who are entrepreneurs. We have educational programs which are also focused on young people who are coming from South Sudan, from Chad, frankly across the region. And we are really concentrating on the countries which are doing a lot of great work as hosts. So we are going to places where those young people already are, and in other cases where we don't have a presence, work through our partners. So that is very much top of mind, particularly during these times. We have set targets for ourselves that 25% of young people coming through all of our programs would be young people who have been displaced because of incredible circumstances, or young people who are refugees. Shukri, would you add a few things?
I would like to address the last question from the Slido that came. And the other day I saw a quote that was saying, ignore what you see, but always envision what you want to build. And that was my mantra in life. Not that I ignore all the challenges I see, but always look at the head. What's the target for you and the goal you have? And as long as you believe in that vision, you will overcome. And that goes across. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, my brother. It's interesting you're saying I'm an inspiration to you, but actually, I recently followed, I think, a session in which you spoke. I think it was in South Africa. Our Rico shared it. It was powerful. But also yesterday, I saw you moderating a session. You inspired me a lot. And, you know, the question on how we can continue to get other young people on board, you see, like, the beauty of this community. He's not saying, what can we do? He's already doing it. So you already have 15 young people you've brought on board in the foundation. Imagine what each of those young people is going to do. You know, the ripple effect, the exponential change you are going to have, continue to have. And so I think continue to do what you're doing. I will continue to do what I'm doing. And I'm telling the brothers and the sisters here to do the same. Let's continue to believe in each other. Because, like, you know, for a long time, I feel like Africa in general, and, you know, I don't want to go up there, but even in our government, the structures are set in a way that we over-depend on other people. My experience, I know Takamaza is here. In a refugee camp where we did not have documents to get out, we knew that we are not going to get out, but we knew we have each other. So we worked together with what we have, almost even what we did not have, to actually create education until we got opportunity to start going out. And once we got out and now keep coming back, the change was big. But to realize that there are so many other people along the way who held our hands. You know, I'm talking about how it has been a great inspiration. There are so many other people who have been part of us. And so let's believe in each other. Let's do what we can. We do it well wherever we are. I know sometimes, even this last question we are talking about, sometimes you get scared of your transition. Sometimes you're seeing your friends finishing well, getting good jobs, and you still start to lose hope, even with a degree. I want to challenge us. Let's be patient when things are not going well, and let's never lose the confidence we had. If you manage to get into these great universities, if you are a refugee, you manage to finish high school, if you are a young person with disability or young woman in a harsh condition, but you still manage to finish, whatever you're going through now, you'll still go through it, and you'll do it well, but let's hold each other's hands. We're going to be unstoppable.
Okay, I want to respond to the last question on how can we get, how does one find what they want to do? So what I have to say is that you have to study and understand yourself. Do you know who you are? And then the second one, you have to ask yourself, what skills do you have and what do you like doing? The final one is, what is happening within your environment? What is happening within your community? I bet you, if you are hungry now, how do you know that you are hungry? Yes, so how do you know? Something happening to your stomach. Then what do you put in the stomach? Food. Okay, so if you can find food, then studying all this would help you find something within your environment, within your room, within yourself. You can start a business. And also to the gentleman's question on to how we can bring others on board. For me, I believe that even our parents that are in the house now, they are part of the Mastercard Foundation Scholarship. Because we are taking care of them, our siblings, we are taking care of them. They are all in the community. It doesn't matter, it's not compulsory for you to wear the tag that Mastercard Foundation Scholar to be qualified. But as far as the impact extends to you, you are part of the family. And so each and every one here giving back to your community in one way or the other is it's not small. So whether you are giving a pen, a pencil, or water to someone in your community, that person is part of the Mastercard Foundation family. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Kat.
Thank you so much to our panelists. Another round of applause to our panel. How inspiring, how thought-provoking, how just challenging. I'm going to ask my panelists to please rise for a picture. It would be great to just have all four of you to capture this moment. Such beautiful stories, such beautiful reflections. So if our photography team can just come up and just capture this moment. Thank you, Joseph. Yes, thank you.